For the airport, and then at the airport. Yeah.
It's around 50 minutes. And along the way we'll be seeing 7 of the 31 colleges that make up the University of Cambridge. Time there was a law in England which stated explicitly that any college must be named after either a royal or a biblical figure. And unfortunately for Thomas, he was neither of these. So what he did was name the college after Mary Magdalene from the Bible, but used the French pronunciation of her name, Magdalene, in order to get the college to sound more like his own surname, Audley. Huh? Yeah. Which was founded in the year 1511 by Margaret Beaufort, who was the mother of Henry VII and the grandmother of Henry VIII. This building on my right, though, was built a lot more recently, in 1968. It's some of the student accommodation on offer at John's, and it is called Cripps Court. It was actually the first building in the world to be designed on a computer, although when it was opened by Prince Philip, he forgot to turn his microphone off after the opening ceremony, where he was overheard saying it looked like a multi-storey car park. Just up ahead of me, though, we have probably the most iconic bridge in the city, Vegas. And unfortunately, there's a bridge of size in a horrible place called Oxford. Sorry, actually, do you mind sitting back there? Because it's just the balance of the boat. It's been...
All right.
Thank you.
Is that okay?
Yeah, well, yeah, okay. Once went on a royal progress to Cambridge, and she told the master of St. John's that she thought this bridge looked identical to the one in Venice. That is despite the fact that she had never been to Venice in her life, and at the time she had cataracts. The bridges look nothing alike. once went on a royal progress to Cambridge, and she told the master of St John's that she thought this bridge looked identical to the one in Venice. That is despite the fact that she had never been to Venice in her life, and at the time she had cataracts. The bridges look nothing alike. Entirely symmetrical, except for the statue of an eagle which sits above the entrance. Now you might notice how that eagle faces to its left-hand side. That is done intentionally, because to my left here we have Trinity College, which was founded by King Henry VIII. He was responsible for having a man who helped Margaret Beaufort find John's, St John Fisher, executed for his refusal to renounce his Catholic faith and convert to the Church of England. So the eagle, which is like the sigil of St John's, refuses to look at Trinity in the sky. Far and away the richest college in Cambridge. That's because Henry made a lot of money during his reign from abolishing the Catholic monasteries in England. And he gave a load of that money to Trinity in order for them to educate the first generation of Protestant scholars and priests who would support Henry's new religion, the Church of England. Trinity is in fact richer than the other 30 colleges in Cambridge combined. Their net worth is £2.4 billion, with a B. So they just reinvest it. They're they have charitable status, so they don't have to pay tax. Trinity's known for having the nicest food. They also spend over £3 million every year on their May Ball, which is like their black tie party the students have in summer to celebrate finishing their exams. They also own a lot of very valuable assets. So the O2 Arena in London is owned by Trinity College. They're also a majority shareholder of Tesco's, the supermarket chain. And they own lots of lucrative land all around the world, including parts of Manhattan, New York. His bodyguard got a first. Despite Charles, though, Trinity is considered to be the most prestigious college in Cambridge because they've produced 34 Nobel Prize winners over the years. To put that into context, that accounts for a third of Cambridge's total number of Nobel Prizes. Embarrassingly, if you look at Oxford, they have 10 more colleges than Cambridge. There are 41 colleges, yet they only have 68 Nobel Prize winners. So this one college in Cambridge is half the number of Nobel Prizes as Oxford University. City Hall. I usually talk about it on the way back, but yeah, it's a different college to Trinity, even though they're right next to each other and have similar sounding names. Most famous college in Cambridge, as what we're about to see on my left is the most iconic view we have of the city.
Ahora vamos a salir por detrás de uno de los más importantes de la universidad, donde salen todas las fotos de la ciudad.
their choir, who have a Christmas carol service every year, which is broadcasted all around the world by the BBC and receives over 100 million listeners every time it airs. The college was founded in 1441 by King Henry VI when he was only 18 years old. And the original role of King's was to be a college exclusively for graduates of the elitist boarding school, Eton. So the only way you could be at King's was if you went to Eton beforehand. And once at King's, you study for something known as the gentleman's degree, very modestly named. Ironically, nowadays, King's is by far and away the most inclusive and progressive college in Cambridge. They hand out more scholarships than any of the other colleges. They also have the highest number of international students, as well as being the only college which refuses to have a May ball in the summer, because they believe it's too institutional. If you have a look at the chapel, that is the second largest in the world, just behind the Sistine Chapel in the Vatican City. It also took over 100 years to build.
Our own institution elsewhere.
Construction began for it in 1446 and it was finished in 1548. The white building next to the chapel is where the tutors of King's College live. It's the Gibbs building. It's actually completed 2 years before construction for the White House began in America. And it also uses stone from exactly the same quarry. So some people credit this as being a direct source of inspiration for the White House. To give you an idea of how large these rooms are, have a look at the chimneys at the top. And the gap between two chimneys is the size of one student's bedroom. Pretty nice rooms. They're very sought after, so much so that they used to be allocated based on academic performance. So only the top 30 or so students would be given one of these rooms for the following year. Alan Turing was given this room right here at the front, the man responsible for breaking the German Enigma codes during World War II. Yes, he did, yeah.
We're from Manchester. He's from Manchester.
Yeah, he is, yeah. Well, he was castrated for being a homosexual, and he killed himself because of this. And he wasn't ever recognised for his participation during the war. He was estimated to have saved over 8 million lives and have ended the war 2 years earlier. He was given a pardon in 2014. Still hasn't been awarded for his role. And that's why there's pride flags here, because that's to commemorate Alan Turing. Excuse me, sorry, do you mind just moving back into your original 58? The reason why it's been made to look so ugly is because the man who designed it, Basil Spence, studied at Oxford. So some like to say he did this on purpose. Believe it or not, it's also listed, so you can't go and knock it down anytime soon. Has to look like this till the end of time. He claims that it was supposed to look like the trees over here on my right, although I'm not sure that it does at all. Yeah, everything you see around you now belongs to Queen's College, with that just up ahead being the Wooden Bridge. Very creative name. Does anyone fancy guessing why they think it might be called the Wooden Bridge?
Made of metal.
Close, yeah, you're on the right line. It's better known by its nickname, the Mathematical Bridge, although I personally prefer to call it the Bridge of Lies, as there are quite a few made-up stories about it. A lot of people like to say that the bridge was designed by Isaac Newton, and that he built it so that the bridge stands up without the individual pieces of wood being physically connected to one another. And as we get closer, you'll clearly be able to see the nuts and bolts that keep it standing upright. What's more, the original bridge was actually built 20 years after Newton died in 1749 by a student of his called William Etheridge. The real reason for its name is because William Etheridge calculated the exact angle that each individual piece of wood had to be placed at in order for the bridge to form a curved shape, despite the fact that these pieces of wood themselves are entirely straight. Unfortunately though, this is only a replica of the bridge, as the original version was taken down as a prank by some students who didn't know how to put it back together again. So this version was only built in 1905. Also, here on my left, that is the oldest building on the river. It's called the President's Lodge, and it was built in 1450. You can tell this by having a look at the windows. Do you see how small they are? So I'm just going to turn around here, guys. That's because it was built at a time where there was a window tax. So the larger your windows were, the more money you'd have to pay in tax for them.
Gusto ko na ganun.
Therefore, by having smaller windows, you'd theoretically be paying less money for your daylight. Strength of the current today.